Look, if you've recently lost a dog, you might be feeling a kind of pain that's just confusing, right? I mean, you've probably lost relatives, maybe even friends, and you've felt sad, of course. But this can feel like your entire world has just been hollowed out. So let's talk about why this particular loss cuts so deep. And I want you to know right from the start, you are not broken for feeling this way.
Maybe you find yourself just crying at random moments or staring at that empty spot on the rug where they used to sleep. And then this little voice in your head whispers that question, doesn't it? Is there something wrong with me? Why does this hurt more than when some of my own family members passed away? It feels like such a guilty, isolating thought to even have. But the answer is a hard no. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you.
So let's get this straight right now. What you're feeling, that intense grief, it's not a flaw. It's not you being dramatic or overreacting. It is a biological response to losing a uniquely powerful connection. Your brain is just reacting to a bond that's built differently. And honestly, in a lot of ways, it's deeper than most of the human relationships we have.
All right, so what is it that makes this bond so incredibly different? Well, it really comes down to this. The relationship you had with your dog, it operated on a completely different set of rules than pretty much any other relationship in your life.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Our human relationships, even the really, really good ones, they're complicated. We misunderstand each other, we have baggage, we have hidden motives, we filter our love through all these layers of judgment. But a dog? A dog comes into your life with this pure, unconditional excitement just for you, exactly as you are, flaws and all. There's no game playing, no deception, it's just connection, pure and simple.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. You didn't just lose a pet that lived in your house. What you really lost was the only being in your life who saw you and accepted you completely. In their eyes, you always saw a version of yourself that was, without a doubt, 100% good enough.
Now, this isn't just me getting all poetic about it. This isn't just a feeling. There's actual hard science that backs up the profound sense of loss that you're going through right now. Your brain chemistry, your neural wiring, it was literally changed by this relationship.
Okay, take a look at this number, 302. What does that even mean? Well, recent MRI scans have shown that 302 is the number of neural pathways in your brain that were activated by the bond you had with your dog. That is a staggering figure, especially when you see what we compare it to.
And this chart, wow, it just shows the difference so clearly. Over here on the left, you've got 147 neural pathways. That's what lights up for a typical human relationship. But on the right, that huge bar represents the 302 pathways for your dog. I mean, think about that. Your brain was firing on a level of complexity for your dog that it doesn't even reach for most people.
So when your dog is gone, your body goes into a literal state of chemical withdrawal. That ache you feel in your chest, that's real. It's chemical. And then there's this other wild thing. Evolution kind of plays a trick on our brains with something called the baby schema. Basically, features like big eyes and big heads, dog features, they trigger the exact same caregiving circuits in our brain as a human baby does. So to your brain, you didn't just have a pet, you had a child that never grew up, one that was completely dependent on you for everything. Okay, so you've got all this going on inside, this profound, scientifically proven grief. But then you have to step out into the real world. And that's where things can get even harder. Because frankly, our society just doesn't know what to do with this kind of loss.
There's actually a clinical term for this, disenfranchised grief, and it's a really powerful idea. It basically means you're going through a completely legitimate, deep sorrow that the world around you just doesn't acknowledge or validate. It's when people tell you to get over it, or you hear that awful phrase, "It was just a dog." And that just forces your pain to go underground, into the shadows.
And a huge reason for this is that, well, we just don't have a cultural playbook for losing a pet, right? Think about it. There are no obituaries in the paper, no formal funeral services. You don't get bereavement leave from work. All those rituals, they exist for human loss because they give us a shared way to process our grief. But without them, you're pretty much forced to mourn all by yourself, in isolation, which just makes the pain so much bigger. So, knowing all of this, the uniqueness of the bond, the brain science, the pressure from society, how do you even begin to move forward? Well, it all starts with one thing, giving yourself permission to honor this loss for what it actually was. I mean, your dog was a constant, wasn't they? They were there through the moves, the breakups, the new jobs, the quiet nights on the couch. They didn't just live in your house, they lived inside your nervous system. They were a constant, living signal that you were safe and okay. And your grief? It's your body's survival instinct screaming because that safety signal is suddenly gone.
Here's a good way to think about it. Imagine your heart is like a Wi-Fi router. Human relationships, they can be like a shared signal, you know? Sometimes it flickers, sometimes there are too many people on the network. But your dog's connection, that was a dedicated, high-speed line, plugged straight into your heart. So when that signal goes dark, it's not a minor glitch. It feels like a total blackout.
So please, I really need you to hear this. You are not overreacting. You are honoring a bond that was honest and simple and just purely good. And maybe most importantly of all, you're allowed to grieve the version of yourself that kind of died with them. The you that only existed in their presence. The person who, in their eyes, was always, always completely enough.